welcome to another edition of Billy's Books. Today I'm going to be doing Thunderstruck by Erik Larson. I've read other books by him, including one about Lusitania. This one tells sort of two parallel stories at once. One of Marconi, one of the inventors of radio, the most popular inventor of radio, though he had a lot of competition. So we get the story of him versus the other people he was competing with to claim the invention of wireless radio. And he was more of a businessman and less of a scientist, so he broke the scientist's rules of sharing information. When he figured out how to do wireless telegraphy, meaning telegrams, he would present it to other people, but he would have it in a black box instead of sharing all the information, so all the other scientists found that rather offensive. The other parallel story going in this book at the same time is the story of a man named Crippen, who was this little nerdy dude who had a sort of overbearing wife who didn't respect him or anything like that. And over the time, he eventually his marriage fell apart, and he sent her away, or she went away, or she was murdered, or something, and he instead fell in love with a secretary in the company he was working for who was much nicer. The whole book goes back and forth between following Marconi and Crippen and their stories, and I got the impression before I started reading the book that their stories were going to sort of merge, and they were going to meet on a boat somewhere, and something dreadful was going to happen, like some sort of Murder on the Orient Express kind of story. That never happened, just so you know. I'm giving away the ending. They never meet. It's still interesting. Basically, the reason they're telling the story of Marconi is because the invention of radio led to sort of wireless radio over the ocean became an important plot point for Crippen when he and his mistress decided to get on a boat and go somewhere. And so what ended up happening was that the radio, people using the radio on that boat, it became very important, and it became a worldwide spectacle. There was a buzz, a large insect buzzing by my head. So this book's really, it's a mystery. It's kind of like a murder mystery / history. I believe it's all based on fact, so it's not historical fiction, which I always shy away from. It's just two stories that are intermingled in such a way that they sort of touch. And there's that bug again. So the characters are Marconi and his wife Beatrice. Marconi was a smooth Italian guy, and he liked ladies. He liked the presence of ladies and liked expensive food, and everything he did was based on his need to be famous, his need to be rich, and his need to live well, even at the expense of the people he was working with and his wife. She thought he was really smooth until they got married, and lo and behold, once they got married, she saw a new side of him she didn't see before. And that was a moody, temperamental, controlling guy who would keep on leaving her behind. Even when she was sick, he would neglect her, and that, over time, wore away at their relationship a bit. There was a detective from Scotland Yard who was a pretty interesting character. Inspector Dew, his name was, D-E-W. And he was an interesting character, and his instincts proved to save the case that otherwise Crippen would have gotten away with. And then there was on the boat, the boat that crossed the Atlantic was a man named Captain Kendall, and he was very astute, and he sort of began what ended up being sort of the international sensation, where everybody in the world except the two people on the boat concerned with the thing in the world knew about, which is why they mentioned Marconi, because the magic of radio, or I should say wireless at that point, was that everyone in the world except the two people on the run knew about the people on the run and knew that they were being pursued. It's an interesting story. Generally I like it. I have kind of given you away, but giving away the ending, but maybe, maybe not. It's all in the telling of the story and all the mysteries. And like Crippen, everyone knew that Crippen was a really, really nice guy, and no one could understand how someone so gentle and so kind and so nice and attentive could end up doing something bad. So it was very effective ploy on his part, but I think he genuinely was a really nice guy, and he just happened to have a really horrible wife. And not excuse, but explanation. Those are my favorite things, to distinguish between excuses and explanations. Anyway, Thunderstruck. I'll keep this brief because I don't really know what I'm talking about. I don't have any proper notes. But Erik Larson, he always tells a good story. If you can't do, review.